Good to Great by Jim Collins. Jim Collins and his research team embarked on a rigorous, 5-year project to answer one of the most fundamental questions in business. Can a good company become a great one? And if so, how? This book is the definitive result of that inquiry, identifying the universal distinguishing characteristics that propelled 11 remarkable companies to achieve sustained greatness, dramatically outperforming the market and their direct competitors. Rejecting fads and simplistic answers, Collins unveils a coherent framework of timeless principles. Good to Great provides the evidence-based blueprint for making the leap, demonstrating that the transformation is disciplined, consistent, and entirely accessible to any organization that has the courage to apply its findings. Preface: we have little greatness primarily because we have so much goodness. The insight that good is the enemy of great is not just a saying. It is a pervasive reality that inhibits growth. To understand how companies transcend this trap, we embarked on a 5-year research project, systematically searching for those rare entities that made a sustained leap from good to great. We identified just 11 companies that met our rigorous criteria. For each, we studied the comparison companies in the same industry that failed to make a similar leap. Our goal was to uncover the distinguishing factors, the variables that made the difference. The findings were often unexpected, consistently challenging conventional management wisdom. This book is not about our opinions. It is a presentation of the evidence, a data-driven framework for turning the impossible into the systematic, providing a practical pathway for any organization willing to confront the brutal facts and discipline itself to pursue greatness. 1. Good is the enemy of great. Greatness is largely a matter of conscious choice, and the first step is overcoming the comfort of mere goodness. To understand this leap, we built our research on a precise, data-driven framework. We searched for companies with 15 years of cumulative stock returns at or below the general market, followed by a definitive transition point, after which they generated cumulative returns at least 3 times the market for the next 15 years. This rigorous filter yielded just 11 good to great companies. The contrast with their comparison companies is stark. Consider Abbott Laboratories and Upjohn. For years, their performance was similar. Then Abbott found its path and dramatically outperformed the market for decades, while Upjohn stagnated and was eventually acquired. The findings consistently defied expectations. We discovered an unexpected simplicity at the core of greatness. These companies did not rely on radical, complex strategies or a single lucky break. Instead, they applied simple, timeless concepts with relentless consistency and discipline. 2 of the most surprising findings preview the entire framework. First, we found a unique type of leader at the helm of every good to great company, what we came to call Level 5 leadership. These individuals channel their ego needs away from themselves and into the larger goal of building a great company. Second, the transition itself is not a sudden dramatic event. It is a quiet, deliberate process, a buildup of momentum akin to pushing a giant, heavy flywheel. Initially, it takes great effort for almost no visible movement. But with persistent pushing in a consistent direction, the flywheel builds speed until its own momentum carries it forward with tremendous force. 2. Level 5 leadership. The most counterintuitive discovery from our research was the type of leadership required for a sustained good-to-great transformation. We conceptualize this as a 5-level hierarchy, with level 5 at the apex. Level 5 leaders are a paradoxical blend of intense professional will and extreme personal humility. Their ambition is first and foremost for the company, not themselves. Consider Darwin Smith, the soft-spoken CEO of Kimberly-Clark. He transformed the company by making the brutal decision to sell the traditional paper mills, a move that shocked Wall Street, but allowed Kimberly-Clark to dominate the consumer paper products industry. His quiet, unwavering resolve epitomized Level 5. These leaders embody the window and mirror metaphor. When things go well, they look out the window, attributing success to their team, to luck, or to other external factors. When things go poorly, they look in the mirror, taking full personal responsibility, never blaming others. Coleman Mockler of Gillette is another archetype. He fought off multiple hostile takeover attempts not for personal gain, but to protect the company's potential for long-term greatness, a decision that ultimately delivered massive returns to shareholders who stayed the course. This stands in stark contrast to the amazing results versus amazing leader dynamic we observed in comparison companies. The charismatic, celebrity leader who garners personal fame often leaves behind a company that cannot thrive without them. The Level 5 leader, by building the company beyond their own personality, creates an enduring institution. 3. First who, then what? The key to a great company is not a visionary idea first, but the right people first. We discovered the first who principle, which means you must start by getting the right people on the bus, the wrong people off the bus, and the right people in the right seats. Only then do you figure out where to drive the bus. This bus analogy reverses the conventional wisdom of setting a grand vision and then finding people to execute it. At Wells Fargo, CEO Dick Cooley began the transformation by meticulously assembling a team of the best talent he could find, long before the precise strategy for navigating banking deregulation was entirely clear. He knew that with the right people, the what would become clearer and more adaptable. This leads to a profound insight. The right people don't need to be tightly managed. They are self-motivated by an inner drive to produce the best results, and they hold themselves to a high standard. This principle connects to the genius of and the ability to reject the tyranny of the or, the view that you must choose between two good things. With the right people on the bus, you can have both discipline and entrepreneurial freedom, both stability and innovation. You do not have to sacrifice one for the other. By putting who before what, you build a team capable of adapting to a changing world and making even the most difficult decisions for the long-term good of the company. This people-first foundation creates a culture where the best ideas rise to the top and execution becomes a natural outcome of having the right team in place. 4. Confront the brutal facts, yet never lose faith. Great companies navigate adversity by embracing a fundamental duality, the Stockdale paradox. You must retain unwavering faith that you will prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties, and simultaneously have the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality. This principle separates companies that make the leap from those that do not. Consider the tale of two companies, Pitney Bowes and Adressograph. The 1959 postal meter case shattered the monopoly world of Pitney Bowes and Adressograph, forcing them to confront the brutal fact that competitors could now enter their market. Pitney Bowes chose to confront this reality head-on. The company leadership did not hide from the truth or hope the threat would vanish. Instead, they accepted that their environment had fundamentally and permanently changed. This honest admission allowed them to begin the difficult work of adaptation. They shifted their strategy and business model, moving beyond reliance on the postage meter alone to build a more diversified and resilient enterprise. By staring directly at the challenging new reality, they found a path forward. Adressograph, by contrast, became trapped in denial. The company failed to fully accept that its golden era was over. It did not fundamentally rethink its strategy with the same clear-eyed urgency. This failure to confront the brutal facts led to a downward spiral. While Pitney Bowes adapted and eventually thrived, Adressograph found itself unable to navigate the new competitive landscape effectively, leading to its long-term decline. This is built on 4 key practices. First, lead with questions, not answers, to foster understanding. Second, engage in dialogue and debate, not coercion, to pressure test decisions. Third, conduct autopsies without blame to learn from mistakes. Fourth, build red flag mechanisms that force you to pay attention to changing reality. Underpinning all of this is a deep, unwavering faith in the end game, a belief in your core purpose and values that is not dependent on current circumstances. This faith provides the stability needed to stare unflinchingly at the brutal facts without losing hope, allowing you to make clear-headed decisions that lead you through the storm. 5. The hedgehog concept, simplicity within the 3 circles. Greatness requires simplicity, a piercing clarity that comes from understanding your hedgehog concept. This idea draws from the ancient parable of the fox and the hedgehog. The fox is cunning, knows many things, and pursues countless strategies. The hedgehog, however, knows one big, simple thing and reduces all complexity to a single, organizing principle. When threatened, the fox devises a new, complex plan, while the hedgehog simply rolls into a perfect, spiky ball, defeating the fox every single time. The good to great companies were all hedgehogs. Your hedgehog concept is not a goal or a strategy. It is a deep understanding that lives at the intersection of 3 circles. First, what you can be the best in the world at, and equally important, what you cannot be the best at. Second, what you are deeply passionate about. Third, what drives your economic engine, best measured by a single profit metric. For years, Walgreens operated like a fox, running a diverse set of food service businesses alongside its drugstores. The breakthrough came when it realized it could never be the best in the world at food service, but it could be the best at convenient drugstores. Its passion became unmatched convenience. Its economic engine was redefined as profit per customer visit, not profit per store. It began closing stores that were even slightly poorly located and investing in fantastic corner locations, clustering stores to dominate convenience. This simple, hedgehog-like focus propelled its transformation. Wells Fargo discovered it could not be a best-in-the-world global bank like Citicorp. Its hedgehog concept was to be the best-run bank in the American West. Kimberly-Clark's Darwin Smith, after confronting the brutal fact that its paper mills were mediocre, made the epic decision to sell them all and pour everything into becoming the best paper-based consumer products company in the world, pitting its Kleenex and Huggies against giants like Procter & Gamble. This terrifying pivot, guided by a simple hedgehog concept, was the making of its greatness. You find this clarity not in a single revelation, but through a council of the right people, engaged in relentless questioning and debate, piercing through complexity to find the one simple, powerful thing that guides everything you do. 6. A culture of discipline. When you combine a culture of discipline with an ethic of entrepreneurship, you unlock the magical alchemy of great performance. This framework is built on 3 pillars: disciplined people, disciplined thought, and disciplined action. It begins with having the right people on the bus, those who are self-motivated and don't need to be managed tightly. With disciplined people, you don't need hierarchy. Without them, no amount of hierarchy can create order. The power of small, consistent acts of discipline is captured in the rinsing your cottage cheese analogy. A world-class athlete might rinse his cottage cheese every day to remove every gram of excess fat, a tiny act that seems insignificant but, compounded over time, creates a decisive advantage. This is the essence of disciplined action, a relentless consistency in doing the right things, however small. This culture is defined not just by what you do, but by what you stop doing. Great companies maintain a pervasive stop-doing list, systematically eliminating activities that don't align with their hedgehog concept. Walgreens exemplified this when it began closing stores, even profitable ones, if they weren't on the best corners, demonstrating the disciplined focus required to fulfill its concept of convenience. The culture is not about the tyranny of control, but the ethics of discipline, where people have the freedom and responsibility to apply their entrepreneurial energy within a consistent framework. It is the glue that holds the hedgehog concept together, turning a simple, profound idea into a sustained reality. 7. Technology accelerators. In an age obsessed with technological disruption, the most surprising finding was that technology alone is never a primary cause of greatness. It cannot transform a mediocre company into a great one. However, when used correctly, it acts as a powerful accelerator, amplifying momentum that you have already begun to build through disciplined people, clear thought, and the hedgehog concept. Walgreens perfectly embodied this principle. Its hedgehog concept was all about becoming the most convenient drugstore. To accelerate this, it became a pioneering force in satellite communications, linking its stores in a sophisticated network. This wasn't technology for technology's sake. It was a direct accelerator of its core concept, enabling better inventory management and customer service that reinforced its promise of convenience. Similarly, Kroger used advanced data analysis and inventory systems to accelerate its disciplined shift away from small, traditional groceries and toward its superstore model. The story of Nucor is perhaps the most striking. As a small, struggling steel company, it bet its future on a new and proven technology, the mini mill. This was not a reckless gamble. It was a perfectly aligned accelerator for its hedgehog concept of being the lowest-cost steel producer. The mini-mill technology was the engine that allowed its disciplined culture and clear focus to achieve previously impossible results. Good to great companies never began with the question of what is the latest technology and how can we use it. They began with the questions, what is our hedgehog concept? And what technologies are relevant to it? They then followed a crawl, walk, run approach, carefully testing and implementing only those technologies that served as accelerators. This stands in stark contrast to comparison companies that reacted to technology with panic, often making huge, poorly conceived investments in the latest fad, driven by the fear of being left behind rather than the clarity of their own purpose. 8. The flywheel and the doom loop. Imagine a massive, heavy flywheel. Your initial pushes are arduous and yield almost no visible rotation. But with persistent, consistent effort in a coherent direction, similarly like disciplined people making disciplined decisions aligned with a clear hedgehog concept, the wheel begins to turn. Push by push, it builds momentum until it spins with its own powerful, seemingly effortless force. There is no single, magical push, only the cumulative buildup of many small, correct actions. The transition from good to great is not a sudden dramatic event. It is a quiet, deliberate process best understood as the flywheel effect. Kroger's 20-year transformation exemplifies this. The company methodically rebuilt its entire system, patiently converting or replacing store after store, market by market, in a sustained, step-by-step application of its strategy. This steady, cumulative progress stood in sharp relief against the pattern seen in comparison companies, which we termed the doom loop. These organizations sought salvation in large, disruptive leaps, a new program, a dramatic acquisition, a celebrity leader, without the sustained buildup. When results failed to materialize immediately, they would abandon the course and lurch toward a new solution, eroding momentum and creating a vicious cycle of underperformance and reactionary change. The trajectories of Wells Fargo and Bank of America further highlight this fundamental separation. Wells Fargo built momentum steadily through its focused hedgehog concept. Bank of America, by comparison, swung erratically between different strategies, never allowing a flywheel to gain speed. The good to great companies never suffered from the tyranny of the or, the destructive cycle of abandoning one path for its apparent opposite. They understood the genius of the and, the patient, disciplined blending of continuity and change. The flywheel effect demonstrates that greatness is not a function of a single brilliant moment, but of resolute consistency over a long period. 9. From good to great to built to last. The principles of going from good to great are not a destination, but the foundation for building an enduring institution. Good to great and built to last are two halves of a unified quest. The journey does not end with a performance leap. It transitions into the disciplined work of preserving that greatness across generations. This requires embracing the core duality of preserve the core and stimulate progress. You must cling with tenacity to your fundamental values and purpose, your unchanging core identity, while simultaneously having the courage to relentlessly change your strategies, practices, and systems to adapt to a changing world. This entire process is an exercise in clock building, not time telling. A time teller depends on a single great idea or a charismatic leader, which is fleeting. A clock builder, in contrast, focuses on creating an organization that can transcend any specific product cycle or leader, generating great ideas and leaders for decades. The good to great framework is, in essence, a blueprint for building such a clock. The hedgehog concept defines the core. Disciplined people and a culture of discipline form the clock's gears and springs. Confronting brutal facts and using technology as an accelerator are the mechanisms that keep the time accurate. The flywheel effect is the winding mechanism that builds and stores momentum. The good to great companies did not just achieve a temporary surge. They laid the groundwork to become built to last companies. Guided by a clear and enduring purpose is what separates a flash of success from a legacy of greatness. Epilogue. The principles of good to great extend far beyond the corporate world, finding powerful application in social sectors, education, and government. Any organization facing the challenge of moving from mediocrity to excellence can apply this framework. A crucial distinction is made between a startup venture and a good to great transformation. These principles are designed for established entities seeking to break through the ceiling of goodness, not for brand new organizations finding their initial product market fit. A fundamental message of this work is that you must become your own researcher. While this book provides a framework and evidence, you cannot simply copy the answers. You must engage with the core questions yourself, diagnosing your own situation and drawing your own conclusions. The process is not about implementing a formula, but about fostering a deep, internalized understanding. Thank you for listening to this audiobook. Your interaction matters, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.